absolute time, 15 minutes each player, so we can start.
Richie, a lot happened this season, both to the team and to you personally with the injury. How would you characterize the campaign, and how do you see the future for this team given the ending of this season?
Yeah, I think an up and down season for, I think, everyone, myself included. Yeah, obviously we fell short of the mark of what we wanted to achieve, but I think, like I said to you a few days ago, I think the end of the season from summer until now, I think, did a pretty good job of, rallying with low numbers on the team, injuries, and obviously tough opponents and a tough part of the year. So I think the end was something we could all be proud of, but yeah, the beginning is something. I think we dropped points when we shouldn't have, and yeah, obviously got off to a slow start, so that was tough. And then yeah, personally getting injured was tough, so being able to fight back from that and get myself back fit and ready and healthy to play again is good. So I would say for myself, towards the end of the year was good, and then also for the team, I think from summer until now was a good moment for us.
Richie, obviously, it'll be up to Jason and Robin to sort of address the needs of the roster in the offseason. We suspect that changes are going to come. But from your perspective, what would you like to see happen? How do you think this team needs to strengthen?
Yeah, that's probably more a question for them, but we just need guys in the building that want to, fight and do the things that we need for this club to get back to where it needs to be. So we just need of course we have, I think, some good players in the team now, but we need to add guys that can take us to another level. So I know that's going to be a priority for them. So yeah, I think we need to, again, just build off of what we had towards the end of this year. And if we add, I don't know how many pieces that are going to help us move in a really good direction. So
what's been your take on Georgie thus far? I mean, he's come in a short period of time. He has like 8 goal contributions in 10 games, and pretty significant contribution as a DP. Just be interested to hear your take on what he's meant to the team, both on the field and off the field as well.
Yeah, Georgie's been great. I think a really good addition. That's probably why they were out to get him. So I think it was perfect. Number 10 for us to get on our team. He's, like you said, in a short period of time, done a lot for us. And I think even, again, with the injuries and low numbers that we had on the team, you've seen the quality that he has and what he's able to do for the team. So I would imagine with, some new faces around him and him getting more adjusted to being here, it's going to be even better for the new year. So yeah, I think on and off the field, very excited for what he's bringing so far.
Different teams have different characters. Robin has talked about the selflessness of this group, how everybody works together. How would you assess the culture within the locker room with the group at the end of the season?
Yeah, I would say just a bunch of guys that just aren't selfish. I think you saw that again from summer on. The guys were really dialed in, and I think everyone's back kind of was against the wall from summer until now, and I think guys responded in a really good way. So yeah, I think we have a lot of really good guys on the team, and a lot of guys that are willing to put others before themselves, I think, which is also good, and you need this in a team to be successful. But yeah, I think that kind of summarizes the characteristics of the team.
You worked under Robin before, so it's not your first time with him, but I'm just curious as to what was it like playing under him as a coach, and the fact that he was a former defender of some repute. I wonder if that means you took on what he said a little bit more readily.
Yeah, him being a defender does help someone like myself. He's able to guide us, the back four, in a good direction, so that part is very good. He was obviously a very good defender in this league. Yeah, I worked with him in 2019, and he's still the same guy that he was then. So obviously he was the assistant coach then, but still same guy, same kind of philosophy that we followed in 2019 is something that he also sees now. So yeah, it's been nice working with him because it kind of brings back, when I first got to the club and me trying to learn how to play under the system here at Toronto. So it's been good.
Rich, the physical part of your game, is it more of a don't back down situation, or it's more of like a return to the position and the ways to focus?
Yeah, it's the way I've played since I've been young, so I've never been the biggest guy, so I've had to find other ways to keep myself engaged and dialed in the game. So that's one of the ways, and I've done it since I've been 6, 7 years old. So.
Does that get overplayed though, Richie? I mean, obviously you're an intense player, but I mean, speaking to other coaches, they also sort of talk about your on-field intelligence and that you've got like a high football IQ. So I wonder if you feel that the tenacity, for lack of a better word, is something that gets sort of focused on more than the other parts of your game.
Yeah, it probably does, but I guess fair in some senses. But yeah, it does. I think I'm well-rounded in that case. But yeah, I think obviously that maybe makes the highlights, and that's what people see more. But yeah, there's still a lot more things I do on the pitch apart from that. But yeah, that is for sure one of my characteristics, though. So.
Richie, just wanted to ask about the Canadian players, particularly in the squad this season, young guys being given opportunities. How important is that for you personally to see within the organization going forward, these almost like a bit of a Canadian nucleus to how the team operates?
Yeah, good. I think being one of 3 Canadian teams, you want to see Canadians being able to play and develop and either stick on the first team and be big parts of the team, or be sold and doing things in different leagues. So I think that's good. It's not something I feel like when I first got into the league was really happening for young Canadian players. So now that, being able to see a bunch of guys make debuts, be consistent players, get a lot of minutes, I think that is big time for our club, but even more so I think for the national team as well. We need more young Canadians playing at a young age, developing, playing big games. This league gets better every single year, so them playing, against some of the likes that you see on other teams is important, and it's valuable for them. So I think, yeah, we're doing a pretty good job of that right now, and I think the other 2 teams as well play a lot of young Canadians, so that is, it's good to see.
You played under several different captains, whether it was on the national team or in your club career. Maybe you can just get your sort of take on what Jonathan has meant. What kind of captain is he, and what's it been like him captaining this club while your time here?
Yeah, I think you think of Toronto FC, you think of also. So I think this club means everything to him. He doesn't take any days for granted, like I know you guys know and see when he plays. So it's been good. He's obviously new to being a captain just last season, but he's made, I think, really good strides, and he's been, for me, someone that when I first got here looked up to because he was on the national team, being able to play, be from here, play here, do really well here, all those things meant a lot to me. So to see him now as captain and, continuing to every day grow and be good in the position, I think is a plus. And yeah, he's doing, I think, a very good job.
Conditioning seemed to be a big part of your game as one of the fittest guys around. How did you recoup from the injury, and what do you recommend to younger players in terms of staying fit?
Yeah, I would have to thank obviously the guys here, the guys on the national team for helping me get back fit. But yeah, I think that's something that I've had since I've been young. So I don't know if it was maybe a little bit, I was lucky to be born and gifted that as well. But I think it helps my game. Obviously, we're repetitive running, and the way outside backs now play these days, you have to be pretty fit to play in the position. So yeah, I think that helps. But again, I obviously do come in every day from the minute I was starting to play competitively as a kid to, working hard was a non-negotiable for me, for the teams that I played on. So I think that helps. I think that would probably be my message to the younger kids. That's one of the non-negotiables. Talent is great and it takes you a far way, but working hard is never going to be able to be replaced. So.
Richie, this time last year we spent a lot of time talking about what the team's identity was going to be. I'm wondering what characteristics, what traits, what progress you saw in that regard, and was there a moment that coalesced that?
Yeah, I think resilience. I think in past years, sometimes when we concede goals, it could end up being a 2, 3, 4 nothing game versus, especially down this last stretch, we concede and it never really felt like that. We were able to claw back against some very good teams away and at home. So I think resilience would be the word I'd probably use for the team this season, because I think various points when we were losing big players that were at this club, important players that were at this club, we could have thrown in the towel. And games like Philly going away with a thin team, it could have ended up, I'm sure, like you guys have seen, Philly's done a number of times to different teams. It could have been a 4 or 5, 6-0 game, but you know, we ended up making it a 1-1 game. It could have honestly won the game there at the end. So I think resilience would be the word I would use. Thank you. Hello.
Alonso, it seemed like you made a lot of progress this season. There was a learning experience, some bumps along the way. How would you rate your campaign?
Yeah, it's been a different one for me this year. In many ways, it was a rough start, I think. I faced some things that I hadn't faced before in terms of not coming on in a couple games and not starting several games in a row, which I believe now looking back at it, it really helped me find myself and get to know what kind of professional I am. Because obviously when things go your way and you're playing consistently, you don't really have time to reflect on what you can do better. So I think having to face those situations for the first time really helped me mentally and in terms of maybe figuring out different ways that I can contribute to the team or even get better myself. And yeah, I believe the past 4 months or so, once I started getting in the starting 11 more consistently for whatever reasons, yeah, I've honestly felt the best I've ever felt in the MLS. And as you say, obviously, I think the way I play and the way we've been trying to play lately, there's going to be certain situations in which mistakes may happen. Now, going into next year, obviously, I want to limit those mistakes. And I think it's something that I'm really looking forward to, the continuing or staying on this path and staying on this improving trajectory. And yeah, honestly, I'm excited for, as you asked me about myself, I'm excited to see what kind of leap, if anything, or what kind of trajectory this goes into next year.
Alonso, you played under several different coaches here in Toronto. I'm curious to hear your impressions of what it was like playing under Robin this year and how maybe he sort of differed from the previous coaches you played under.
Yeah, it's when you have 4 coaches in the 3 years that in the last 3 years, it's always it's not easy to stay consistent as a player, as a team. Every coach tries to bring his own idea of how the team should play and how even you in your position should play. I think it took us some time to adapt to what Robin was or is trying to do here. I don't think we have reached the level that we want to do it at yet. His idea is, I think, way more fluent and free than, for example, John's could be last year, which was a bit more rigid and pattern-based. So we had a lot of those tendencies coming into this year, I think, and it took us some time to adapt into this different system. But as I said, over the past, or throughout the second half of the season, I think we were really able to come together as a team into this idea and to really create those relationships and connection between different players in order to make it work and understand how we can benefit from it. And I think defensively, especially, we've really stepped it up in terms of effort, in terms of will to make plays and keep clean sheets. And now going to next year, I think we'll have a very strong base in terms of an identity as a team.
Robin has talked about how proud he was of the team being selflessness, that people are working for each other, putting their egos aside. Richie said since the summer he saw that too. Did you see a difference in the makeup of the team as the season wore on?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think by the numbers you can see it. I think by watching the games you can see it. Last game I wasn't involved in the game, and for the first time watching it from the outside, in a game in which you could say we're not playing for anything, we're out of playoffs already, and Orlando was playing for everything. I believe we were the team that was more hungry to get the win and to get the result and to make plays defensively and to get on second balls. And you see so many players putting it all on the line in order to keep a clean sheet or to prevent goals. And I think that speaks volumes in terms of the shift in culture and competitive environment that we're going through, and it's every player from the attackers, midfielders, defenders. Obviously, the goalkeepers have, I think, both of them have been great this year, and yeah, it's a testament of the shift in mentality that this team and the club is going through.
How would you diagnose the season in terms of the lack of results and the failure to qualify for the playoffs? What did you see as sort of maybe the one or two major issues hurting the team?
Can you ask again?
When you look at sort of the lack of results on the pitch, I think it was 6 wins this year, the early exit from the Canadian Championship, not qualifying for the playoffs. What did you see as sort of the major issue, or maybe it's more than one issue, preventing Toronto from getting more positive results on the pitch?
Well, it's the issues I think have been different throughout the year. As I said, I think over the first few months of the year, we really struggled to understand and to figure out what kind of team we wanted to be and how we wanted to get those results. And then, honestly, over the past few months, I think the only reason why we didn't get more wins than we did, and we went on that 8-game time streak is because we weren't able to score one more goal than the other team. I think you can argue that many of those games we did enough to get those wins. For whatever reason, in each of those games we didn't. But yeah, I think that the reasons why we weren't able to secure more 3 points throughout the year is different. I think it's a tale of two halves this season, and yeah, the reasons again are different for both of them.
Alonso, based on your progress mentally coming off the bench, what is the part of your game that you think you developed over the period of time to be a starter?
I was able to take some time throughout those weeks in which I was not starting or even coming on. I believe it allowed me to find the freedom in training, to train freely, and to find myself in training in terms of what player I wanted to be. I don't think I had that chance before because of how quickly everything happened with my signing, and very early after signing I was starting already games, and then with a couple injuries I think it didn't really allow me to settle down as a player in this team. And I think those few weeks in which I wasn't really playing, it gave me that time to reflect and look back and figure out what kind of player I wanted to be in this league and in this team, and how I could contribute to the team winning and playing the way we wanted to play. So then once I found myself getting more minutes and in the starting 11, I had already been doing that in training, and I had already figured out the way in which I wanted to contribute to the team. So it allowed me to go out there in games and be very comfortable in taking responsibilities and making decisions for the team, and having that freedom to make mistakes in which that I probably didn't have before, and I was playing a little bit too restricted for what I would have wanted to do. And once again, obviously, those mistakes, I need to be able to maybe consider risk versus reward in many of them, but I think it is what is, at the end of the day, those mistakes is gonna, it's what is gonna make me progress and get better in the future. So I'm not too worried about them as long as they don't end up costing us making playoffs or winning championships. Thank you.
No, it's good.
Georgie, obviously there's going to be some personnel moves in the off-season that we'll find out about, but given the way the season ended with this team, how optimistic are you for next season?
Very. I think even before I came, there was a very good foundation, a pretty good culture when I joined, and consistency in the way we train and the philosophy that the coaches are implementing in us, and a good off season and a strong preseason and building off of, especially this last game, is what we want to do.
Did you see developments in the culture? Robin talked about the final game, how proud he was of the players pulling together and working for each other. Did you see a growth in that in your time with this team?
100%. It's very easy to go into the decision day game with not making playoffs, to kind of blow it away. And like I said after the game, there was no need to really motivate the group. They understood that we have to leave the whole season on a strong note, for the fans, for us in the locker room. It's gonna be 3 months until we play again, and it's very important for us to end the way we did.
Georgie, it was a small sample size because I think it was only about 10 games that you played. But how did you fit into the way that Robin played, or wants to play this style, and are you comfortable sort of in that style that he wants to play?
Yeah, naturally it's going to take a few games, essentially in a full preseason to understand a new formation, new ideas. My style of play is a pretty flexible one, and wherever the team suits me, I'm going to do my best. I think given in my career I played a few different positions and I kind of understand different roles pretty well, so it was pretty easy after a few games to really understand my teammates, their tendencies, what the coaches are asking, and also for them to understand me as a player. And I think 10 games, the first 3 or 4 just getting my legs under me, but once you have consistent training and with the players and the coaches, you're just naturally going to feel more welcome and involved in things.
How did you find playing on a team with Jonathan Osorio, and what did you played under several captains during your career, both internationally and club level. How do you find him as a captain?
Very good, very good. Him and I are actually quite similar in terms of the emotional input that he puts into trainings and games, and if we can get more players like that with that mentality, it's only going to help the team better. And you know, winning teams, they have 4 or 5 players that have this fiery mentality that get on you, and you need that. And of course, in the moment, you're going to get back at them, but at the end of training, you shake hands. But yeah, 4 or 5 players with this mentality is good for a locker room.
You seem very flexible where you could play on the pitch. If you had your choice, where would you like to play?
Number 10.
Just a quick one. As that season was ebbing to conclusion, like what were the internal conversations like with you guys in terms of keeping that spirit, keeping those levels high, so that the season wasn't blown out?
There was a lot because 8 draws in a row really does something to a player's mind, but I think it's kind of reinstating that in those 8 draws, we let in 1 goal away in Philly, who won the Supporter Shield. We go away to Columbus, let in 1 goal, and also we let in goals in the first 5 minutes and come back and to tie those games against those tough teams. So yeah, so we don't get the full 3 points, but there's so many positives in those moments that if you take a step back and reflect, then you see there's a lot of positives and good that's happening. And like I was saying, with going into decision day with nothing to play for, we're all professionals. We all understand our role in the team and know that finishing strong and giving our all every training, every game, even though we don't have playoffs ahead of us, that it's important for us to do this no matter what.
And just quickly as a follow-up, you coming in seeing quite a lot of young players being given opportunities to go out there, express themselves, get those minutes under their belt. Someone who knows the league very, very well. How important is that for those players' developments, and particularly at this club for building a future as well?
That's so important, and you see it around the league and around the world that teams are getting younger and younger. It's important for a club to have a certain culture, certain philosophy, solid play that's kind of through the whole club. And now with the second team, the same ideas are being built there, so those players have a easier time to come into the first team. And through my time here in those few months, there's been many of those second team players coming in and not looking out of place, so that's good. And yeah, hopefully you need with the winning team and a team that's competing for every trophy possible, you need the depth. And there's not going to be one starting 11 that's going to play 50 games in the year, so you need those players to have the confidence from the coach, from his teammates, that he can do the job when needed.
You seem comfortable on the field. You seem comfortable explaining the game. Where about in your career you get to be a student of the game, with your own coaches? You seem very comfortable.
I was kind of raised since I was little from a coach. My dad was a coach and a player, and we were always watching games, talking the game. And as you play a career, I've seen so many different environments now. I think this is my 5th club, something like that. It's different ideas, different countries. You learn the game just from experiencing it, and I just kind of communicate what I see.
Jason has talked about the need to bring in a designated player at the number 9 spot, so the team's sort of scoring woes are well documented this year. What do you think bringing in such a player of a DP caliber would mean for you in terms of maybe bringing out, not that you weren't creative this year, you were, but what do you think it would mean for you in terms of your having an even bigger impact at this club?
Yeah, I mean, my job is to create for myself, create for others. You look at, I feel like in MLS, it's a league of the DPs. You only have 3 of them, or 2, however you want to build the roster, but you have to make sure you get them right. I look back at the best years of Toronto with Giovinco and Altidore, and then Giovinco, I think it was Pozuelo after. Was that the same time? So, yeah, Michael, of course. But like in terms of a 10, having a certain 9 that you can just relate to on the field, it's going to make everything better in the attack.
Have you had a chance to pick Giovinco's brain?
Of course. of course, especially on the free kicks.
Seems to be working.
Yeah.
Georgie, when you arrived, you spoke about the city, the club, the faces that you saw in that locker room. What have you learned over the past couple of months, and has it been everything you
What's the first part?
When you arrived, you spoke about the city and the club and the other guys in the locker room and what you saw there. What have you learned over these past 2 months about that, and has it been what you expected?
Well, first off, the fans. It's very easy for the fans to kind of brush away coming to the game, supporting the team, and for the recent history of the club. But seeing the nearly sold out stadiums, 20,000 people regularly at, I think it was only 4 home games that I had, but seeing that many fans coming to support, even though the team might not be at the best, is something good. And it kind of showed exactly what I kind of knew already about Toronto sports. And you see yesterday, of course, the Blue Jays, so that's pretty cool. In terms of the culture, I knew Toronto, it was a big club just from the start of my MLS career, but immediately when I walked into the training ground, the stadium, it has a big club feel, and the way the club operates with the players and relates to the fans, it's what you want from a club.
Before we talked to you, Alonso came out, and he's someone who logged a lot of time this year and still a player in his mid-20s who's still developing. I'd be interested to hear your take on him. What did you see in him in the Spaniard?
Typical Spanish holding midfielder. Yeah, very calm, technical, can pick out any pass. His technique is very good. That's kind of what you want from a holding midfielder, to have that, almost to be the calmest person on the field with the ball. He makes everybody better because he plays so simple, and sometimes playing simple is the hardest thing, and he does it very easy. I enjoy playing with him.
Sorry, James. Another player that's been getting a lot of attention recently is Richie. Just wondering your comments on him, his flexibility, his adaptability. Obviously, a lot of focus on him for his performances with the national team. Just what's it been like to be around him?
No, I knew he was good, but not as good as I've seen now. His ability to play any position on the field and look like he's done it his whole life is pretty good. That's awesome. I think, like I said about also his mentality is very good. He trains, he's never satisfied with results, and it's very easy to feel that energy and feed off that energy for yourself. And like I kind of said about Alo, and he makes it so easy to play with too. And I think it's very clear why now he's with Canada and giving Jesse Marsh struggles for that starting left back. He's an incredible player and incredible person too. We get along very well.
Georgie, the off-season awaits, but what does the work ahead look like for this group?
I think enjoy a few weeks off, enjoy rest of mind. I generally think that you should be very optimistic if you're in the locker room. There's a lot of good happening just in the city, sports. I think there's a very good base here and a lot to just build off of.